my name right because a lot of people call me Ronald.
All sorts of
Ronald,
things.
and they don't see the O. So I want to go back. Yeah, man, to answer your question, hey, it's such a weird one because I'm from such a small town, called Heidelberg, such an Afrikaans small town. So
Yeah.
all these terms and things are quite new to me as well. Someone actually told me I was a metrosexual. I was like, hey, wait a minute, you don't even know me like that. But how I define it is just like men that like taking care of themselves, men that do things that are stereotypically associated to things that women like to do, and I think being a fashion designer kind of forced me into that box because, we like to look good, we like to look presentable and stuff like that. So yeah.
That sounds exciting enough, and that sounds like that's where kind of the seeds were planted for your love for fashion and creativity and artistry. I'm interested to find out about your training at LISOF. LISOF is the standard. It is the gold standard internationally when we look at fashion training. And the fact that you were there just speaks volumes. So talk to me about how your training at LISOF, the fashion school, sort of assisted you in your confidence as you stepped into your work experience at Tsepo Jeans, I beg your pardon.
Yes, like I said, I got the full experience from LISOF. Like, I think my journey starts off a bit different than most designers. Some people are kind of, they've always sewn, they've always designed. I was like forced to go into the professional, my father wanted me to be an engineer and stuff like that. So I studied 4 years at UJ. And no, not 4 years, 4 months, sorry, like not even a semester. And I dropped out. And then the rest of the year, like, kind of was my journey and like what I wanted to do. I've always been creative, but like I didn't even know fashion was a career, if I'm being honest. Being from a small town, I was quite ignorant to the possibilities out there. So LISOF, to me, my father was like, hey, if you're going to study fashion, I'm going to put you in the best fashion school, And literally, they have helped me from the ground up, like making clothes, using a sewing machine. I mean, I didn't know how to use a sewing machine before I started there, But it's been an absolute blessing of a journey, teaching you fundamentals and, obviously being around other fashion students. Like, it's different from going to a UJ, every day people are slaying. Every day people are wearing their best, So it's kind of like that competition. And even in design, I won, in my final year, I won the prize for best creative collection, you could say. So like, it's really like opened my eyes into like the possibilities and stuff like that. And like you said, LISOF is the standard. I think our greatest in the industry come from LISOF. I mean, Tebo, Magugu, Richimdisi went to LISOF as well. So yeah, it's good to know that we all come from the same place and what the possibilities are.
Oh, it's 19 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. We are currently in conversation with Ronaldo Engelbrecht, lead designer at House of One. And we are talking about how men are redefining masculinity through style, grooming, and self-expression. We continue the conversation right after this.
Parlez-vous couramment le français? Êtes-vous passionné par la radio? Et êtes-vous qualifié pour travailler en Afrique du Sud? Envoyez-nous votre CV et vos 3 minutes démo en MP3 à @channelafrica.co.za pour avoir une chance de rejoindre la famille Channel Africa. Si vous n'avez pas de réponse après 14 jours, cela signifie que vous n'avez pas été retenu. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
It is 20 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. You join us in a conversation with Ronaldo Engelbrecht, the lead designer at House of One. And we are talking about how men are redefining masculinity through style, grooming, and self-expression. Ronaldo, talk to us about fashion being used in the larger scale of men expressing their metrosexuality and using that as a form to express themselves. And because a lot of times we just think, it's fashion, just put on clothes. But for men who pay attention to detail, fashion is a brilliant way to express yourself in that way.
Yeah, man, fashion is essentially like the first thing you notice about someone. You know, it's almost like your personality outside of yourself. And I think we're in a society where, you know, is like individuality is so important, you know, like we have different people of different beliefs and, you know, all those type of things. So I think, you know, in the metrosexual type of sense, you know, it's interesting how we've shifted from, like you said, looking at clothing as just things to cover us up.
Yeah.
And now being like, okay, now this is something that, you know, I'm expressing this type of emotion or, you know, this type of feeling. I mean, when it comes to fashion, I am a women's wear designer, and, you know, women have such a wide range of different clothing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think in the fashion industry, men are exploring like different ways of fashion because, you know, men wear pants, shirts, and jackets, you know, whether it's a coat or a jacket, that's literally the three pieces we have to put on. And we kind of have to be experimental with it, you know, like play around with different cuts, different shapes and stuff like that. So I think it's harder in fashion actually, you know, because we are so limited. That's why you get people that push the boundaries with wearing dresses or skirts and stuff like that, you know. So I think main fashion is in a very like, it's always an experimental thing with us, you know, which is very exciting.
I love how you're just beaming when you say that. But talk to me about what does metrosexuality actually mean to you personally? Because I would imagine that in this day and age with social media and everything else, it really is challenging traditional ideas around masculinity. What does it mean to you?
Yes, like, okay, so if I'm being honest, like I said, I'm from a very small town where everything is very traditional, you know, either a doctor or engineer or, you know, you're going to fail in life. So like me, putting myself out there, like metrosexuality to me was just me being me, if I'm being honest. Like I was always in high school, I took extra long to get ready because I wanted to make sure I look good. You know, my shoes were always polished. I even had like those little, you know, those okies that you polish your shoes during the like break. And, you know, I'd always get my nails done. I'd get my eyebrows threaded and stuff like that. You know, my mom, you know, she used to help us. And that, like, there wasn't that toxic masculinity in the household. So I think because I come from a very diverse household. Like I'm mixed. My mom is white. My father's African. You know, I have homosexuality in my family and stuff like that. So there was none of that. Yeah, if you do this, it looks like you're feminine. You get what I'm saying? So to me, the term really got applied to me when someone told me that, which was quite recent, you know? So I think, like I said, metrosexuality is just like taking pride in your appearance, if I'm being honest. You know, whether, you know, you get extreme metrosexuality or if you're in the middle or in the beginning phase, just like taking good care of yourself and pride, you know, in your appearance and stuff like that.
Ronaldo, talk to us about your latest collection because it has been described as embodying this modern identity of metrosexuality. Tell us a bit about it. What can people expect for those who haven't seen it yet?
So actually, funny enough, I don't know if they told you guys, but House of One is the latest collection and it is only a women's wear brand. Okay. So for now, we possibly in agreement with Shein to launch a menswear brand where we can explore that. But I think as a male designing for women, you know, you kind of understand how to apply that femininity into you know, my daily wardrobe or you know, in men design or incorporate that into other collections that I do for other brands and stuff like that. But yeah, House of One, our collection speaks on the elegant woman, the professional woman.
Coming soon.
It sounds exciting, and we actually had a conversation with one of your partners around the launch of the Shein, line, as it were, for House of One. And it sounds just, the palette, everything just sounds really, really exciting. So, I mean, what can you add to that? I mean, you did mention that it's for the modern women and all of that. So perhaps you can direct us as to where we can see these garments if we'd like to have a glimpse at them before we buy.
Oh yeah, interestingly enough, you can actually go on Shein. We have our own brand store. So if you search House of One and stuff like that on the Shein platform, it will take you to our personalized brand store. That's what makes our collaboration so unique from other people that have collabed with Shein. I think they have only a few brands that they've collabed with where they have, their own store and stuff like that. So you can just go on Shein, search House of One, and you'll see our storefront there. We're still in the beginning phase. I think we've only been out for a month now on the store, So, we're planning all our fashion shoots and stuff like that to update our store and stuff. But yeah, we'd really appreciate it if people, go give it a follow, go give it a browse and a buy.
I love that. And Ronaldo, let's talk about very quickly before we wrap up the conversation, male grooming. How important is that? I mean, besides putting labels and attachments, metrosexual, all of that, how important is male grooming and just taking care of yourself, not just in your own personal space, but when you get seen out in public?
Yes, Ash, I can't emphasize this enough. I take some of my friends and we go get our nails done. It is so important, not only for other people, just for yourself, man. It's a way of relaxing. Sometimes I was meant to deal with a lot of stress and a lot of things. And it's funny enough, my female friends always, they compliment male features, oh, you guys' eyelashes are always so thick, or your eyebrows are all, you guys have all these, your skin is so good, and all that. And it's all men know what it's like to get a fresh fade,
Yep.
You someone go out the next day.
The same day.
So imagine if you do that with your same day. Imagine if you do that with everything, go for the facials, go for the thing. I think the only thing stopping men is toxic masculinity, the fear of getting judged or whatever the case may be. And it's about taking care of yourself, and not what other people think about yourself. So, if it makes you feel good, to me, I have to get my nails done, because you get compliments, Owen. So let me tell you guys, once you're shaking hands, they notice that the nails are shining, So I would really recommend it, in whatever way you can, make sure that you groom yourself, shave, cut your hair. Some Owens, the toenails, we can't neglect those okies. We need to make sure. So yeah, it's very important. It's very important.
Nothing like a solid compliment, eh? Especially if it's genuine from somebody, and especially if it's a stranger and they just you look really cute. I love that blazer, or I just love how you've done your nails. Yeah, it's always so good.
As guys, unless you're a supermodel, we don't really get compliments like that. You'll notice. If your mom tells you look good, you start blushing because
so
we don't get compliments like that. So you get what I'm saying? So yeah, as we need to, let's gather our forces. We should have a men's conference where we teach people how to groom themselves and take care of themselves. And dress also. We need to stop wearing slacks with jeans out.
Of course, Ronaldo. It's been wonderful. I mean, we could chat to you forever. You're just such an open spirit, so beautiful human you are. Thank you very much for joining us, Ronaldo Engelbrecht, who was joining us as lead designer at House of One. Check it out. It's on the Shein. I've heard people say Shein, some say Sheen. Listen, whatever it is, you know what we're talking about. Go on there and check out his woman's line as the lead designer. It is 1:31. Let's check in with the latest in sports.